going on, everyone? Nick Goland here with Meli, my wife, and whispering because we're in a house and not everyone's awake yet, but coming to you with something different because we're actually in Harbour Island. We're not in Treasure Cay anymore.
Look at the view.
Look at this view. And we're here with a good friend of mine. He rented a house for the week and invited us to come spend some time with him. So bringing you a little something different, still Bahamas vlogs, but we're down in North Eleuthera and Harbour Island for the next couple of days. And so
you're gonna start seeing more Harbour Island content.
Yeah, so we're going to show you all that Harbour Island has to offer, the sights, the sounds, the restaurants, the activities, everything. If you like the Treasure Cay Abacos content, you are really going to love the Harbour Island stuff because this is an amazing, amazing, beautiful island. So first, I think this morning we're going to go to a coffee shop, and then I'll give you all a tour of the house later too because this house is unreal. And yeah, just come hang out with us. And so let's get to the coffee shop and then figure out what we're going to do for the rest of the day. Alright, so headed out on our first day in Harbour Island, Meli and I are going over to the Coco Coffee House, which is the coffee shop at the Valentines Resort and Marina. And Valentines is probably the most famous and most popular marina here on Harbour Island. And later in this video, I'm going to give you guys a much better look at Valentines and what it has to offer. But they do have a really awesome little coffee shop here that you're gonna see in a second. And I'm not a massive coffee drinker myself, but my wife loves it. And so I love spending the morning with her, just hanging out, drinking coffee and having some breakfast. And as you can see here, the golf cart parking does get a little bit hectic here at times, much like you'd expect in the Bahamas. People just kind of park on the street wherever they can find a spot. And so yes, it gets backed up at times, but it does also add to the flair of the Bahamas. And so this is the Coco Coffee House here. They have an awesome sign on the tree. It's just across the street from the marina where they have the bar and the restaurant and everything. And this yellow building, the bottom story I think was a gym or something. And then you go up these little side stairs and it takes you right up to the actual coffee shop itself. And this is probably the only coffee shop that I've been to in the Bahamas that feels like it's at coffee shop in a big city in the US. They have whatever kind of milk you want, oat milk, almond milk, whatever else, avocado toast. It feels very trendy, modern, hip, like it belongs in a city, not so much like it belongs in the Bahamas. And so me personally, I kind of like that more low-key Bahamian vibe of, say, Flo's here on Treasure, but it was still very good.
Cheers.
You see the sandwich.
Yummy.
So far, one of my assessments of Harbour Island is that the chicken population is growing at an alarming rate. I haven't been here in a couple years, but I do remember there not being quite so many chickens. I've seen a significantly greater amount of chickens than I remember seeing in past years, but we made it back to the house. We're gonna hang out here a little bit, as you'll see here in a second, and then Meli and I are actually gonna give you guys a tour of the entire island. As you saw, we went ahead and got the coffee, got some breakfast and everything, and it's a pretty slow day, you know, currently, still the morning, currently just working on uploading another YouTube video, which will be, you know, 2 months ago for y'all when you're seeing this. I try to do one a week, and so, you know, the videos get backed up just a little bit, but I'm not gonna bore y'all with my work, but what I will do is I'm gonna take a quick little walk around of the house here so you guys can see the house and how awesome this house is and how crazy the view is. It has a dock, 3 bedrooms, an awesome pool, a great view, a house cleaner, just a really, really awesome place. So let me go walk around and show you guys the abode for the next week. I mentioned this earlier in the video, but Meli and I did not rent this house ourselves. This was actually a good friend of ours who rented it and was kind enough to invite us to come spend the week with him down here. But I am gonna go search for the listing for this rental on VRBO or Airbnb, and I am gonna put it in the description below, because if anyone watching this video is looking to go to Harbour Island, or after watching this little Harbour Island mini series that I put together, wants to visit Harbour Island, I cannot recommend staying in this house enough. It was a stunning house. It was right on the water. It had insane views. It has a dock so you can bring a boat. It's got 3 large staterooms, all with en-suite bathrooms, a big living area, dining area, a pool. It was really everything that you could ever want in a rental here in the Bahamas. And when I go upstairs here, you'll see first I'm going to go into the bedroom that Meli and I were staying in, so please pardon the mess in there. We had just got there the night before, and so our clothes are still laying out everywhere. But this is a guest stateroom, and you can see how big it is with big walk-in closets and a beautiful bathroom that was spacious with high ceilings and the whole 9 yards. And behind that door right there is the master, but my friend, the renter, he was in there on a work call, so I didn't want to annoy him and just to film the master suite. You can imagine it's a giant, awesome bedroom. Go look at the link down in the description below and you can see the pictures of that master bedroom. But this is the backyard, and just look at this view. This has to be one of the best views on the entire island. And there's a couple houses on this property. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. And so they all share this little walkway that has bougainvillea trees, bushes, whatever they are, growing over the top of it to almost give you somewhat of like a Mediterranean feel. But you walk down the little hallway and it takes you out to the dock, which is absolutely stunning. There, again, there's like 3 or 4 houses on this property. So there's a bunch of boat slips on the dock that they all share. I believe when you rent out the house, you also can bring a boat and use one of the boat slips as well. But just a really, really beautiful place. And walking back up to the house, please just take a minute to appreciate how insane this view is. And we were blessed on this trip with some awesome weather for the 5 or 6 days we were here. And so it just made this view and this whole experience so much better. So as you can see, the house is pretty freaking awesome. And so now what time is it? It's noon, it's 12, so lunchtime. And so my friend who's renting the house, he's working, and so Meli and I, we're gonna go take a ride around the island. I'm gonna show her the place because this is her first time. I've been here a bunch. Find some lunch, but take y'all with you to show you the island and how beautiful and different from the Abacos Harbour Island is. All right, you've been here for give or take 24 hours now. You know, yesterday afternoon and this morning. How do you feel about Harbour Island and how it compares to Treasure Cay and the Abacos? Give me your rundown.
Compare? Do you want me to compare?
Yep.
I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You know, it's more like, I don't know. It's people like their privacy here. I would have to say that. Like houses and everything, all of them have like big walls and big doors and everything. And when you go to Treasure, you know, everything's like wide open. People are like, you know,
yeah.
You know, it's like more like a relaxed.
It's more of a community that wants to all hang out with each other.
Yes. Here, it doesn't happen like that. And it's more like, today we got to a bakery. He's gonna put some videos and pictures. It was delicious. But you know, it was like, oh boy. You can get a chai latte with oat milk and almond milk or any kind of smoothies or green juice. It's very like, that's a big difference. You know, Treasure, you go to Flows, you got your coffee, you have cream there, and you have your breakfast sandwich,
and that's
sugar,
yeah.
Cinnamon roll.
If you want anything fancy, latte, iced coffee, green
juice,
juice,
gonna happen
they'll look
Treasure.
at you like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Does not happen at Treasure. It's definitely a lot more, I mean, it's a lot more high-end. It's bougie. The net worth of the individuals who own houses here on Harbour Island is through the roof, which is why, you know.
You can get to see it like this.
It's why the privacy exists. Like yesterday, we saw Jerry Jones. His daughter got married yesterday, and so we're sitting eating at the bar at Valentines, and Jerry Jones walks by. Like, that's the kind of people who you see when you're here at Harbour Island.
Yeah.
But the Island itself is gorgeous, no?
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful
it's
beaches, beautiful areas, restaurants, coffees, bakeries, everything.
Yeah, and it's a stunning island, and because of the money that's here, a ton of money has been put into making this place feel as, you know, tropical and islandy. And so the vegetation here is lush. It's huge. You feel like you're really on an island. It's pretty damn cool. And and one thing that we haven't got to explore too much, you know, last night we did go to a little Italian restaurant, but the culinary scene here, the food scene on Harbour Island is through the roof. Now, it will run you bankrupt paying for it, but it is through the roof. You know, when Harbour Island was coming up, they brought in a bunch of chefs from all over the world to establish the restaurants and the food and the menus. And so it's famous for the food here, and the food is fantastic. We went to Aquapazza, which is a favorite restaurant of mine. It's a little Italian restaurant that's on the property of the Romora Bay Marina, and it was fantastic. What'd you think?
I love it. We got penne alla vodka.
And so Harbour Island it's a cool place. It's very, very different than the Abacos. And so my goal over this next week of videos, which will be pretty much like 3 weeks of videos for y'all, but is to kind of show you how different the Abacos are from Harbour Island, how Treasure Cay compares to Harbour Island, and how completely on the opposite side of the spectrum it is here. But enough of me yapping. Let's go drive around the island and we'll show you a little bit of kind of what it looks like and everything. The first marina on the island that I want to show you guys is the Briland Club. It is the newest marina on the island, and it also happens to be probably the nicest and most upscale as well. And before this marina was here, this property was another marina, but it was nothing fancy, and in its later years was starting to get run down a little bit. And so this family bought this property, which is 27 acres, built this beautiful marina, and they also sell residential houses on it as well. It's a private club, it's very exclusive. They do have a public restaurant on the dock, which I'm going to show you guys here, but for the most part, it's a very exclusive community for very high net worth individuals, and they cater to a whole nother crowd than Valentines or Romora Bay, which are the other two marinas on the island. This one, they want to cater more towards the big, you know, super yacht crowd, 100-foot plus. I believe they have a 70-foot minimum, which neither of the other two marinas on Harbour Island have. But this is the dock walking up to the actual marina part. You can tell that they essentially just built their own island out there, connected it with a bridge to the mainland, and then built the boat slips off of this island that they built. It is hands down the nicest marina I have ever seen in the Bahamas. And before this, I would have said either Walker's Cay or Chubb Cay would have been the nicest, but this one absolutely just blows everything else out of the water. The architecture is very Harbour Island Bahamian, and it's hard, if you've never been to Harbour Island, it's hard for me to kind of explain what that is, but it has this very own unique architecture here. But you can tell, beautiful marina, nice floating docks, big old boats in the background. This is the view coming off of the island that is the docks, headed back to the mainland. Just overall an insane marina if you have a lot of money. Our next stop on the Harbour Island tour is the Romora Bay Marina, and this is actually the marina where when I was a kid I used to stay here. We used to travel on my grandparents' boat, and when we would come through Harbour Island, we always stayed here at Romora Bay. The whole vibe and feel at Romora Bay is something that's more in line with what I personally like. It's a lot more low-key. It feels like it could really fit into pretty much any Bahamian island. If you put it in the Abacos, it would work. If you put it in the Exumas, it would work. If you put it in Cat Island, it would work. It's just a much more relaxed, low-key feel, which is what both me and my family really, really like. That building right there, that's the bar and restaurant, which we are going to show you guys in a little bit, but you can see the views here are absolutely outstanding. They have a ton of dockage, very nice dockage as well. It's not the floating docks like the Briland Club has, but it's extremely nice dockage, and they can fit some pretty big boats in here. I want to say they can fit up to like a 180 on the ends, but overall, if I was to come to Harbour Island or recommend a marina for any of you guys, I would choose Romora Bay because I think it feels like the most Bahamian marina on the island.
So tiny.
Lean, because you're behind me. Lean in, put your arms in. Yeah.
So tiny.
All right, we're sitting here at Romora Bay on Harbour Island, which is a marina. It's actually the marina that my family used to come stay at. And we actually just ran into a subscriber of the channel, a fan who says he watches all the videos, which is surprising because most of my, people we meet is all up in the Abacos and at Treasure Cay because that's pretty much the only Bahamas content I post.
It was very nice.
Oh, super nice. Yeah, it's really nice to meet someone outside of the Abacos. I forget.
I'm gonna ask him again.
Yes, we're gonna have to go back and get the name. I completely forgot. I was too excited. But super cool to meet people out in the Abacos down here on Harbour Island, which I've never made a video up until now of Harbour Island. So really, really cool. I'm gonna say it again. If you guys ever see us, please, please, please come and say hi. We really do enjoy meeting everyone. I'm a very social person, so is Meli. And so we enjoy meeting people, saying hi, meeting subscribers and people who like what we do. So that's awesome. Here is another look at the views you get from Romora Bay. It's absolutely stunning. You look out over the bay, you can see Valentines on one side, Briland Club on the other side, because Romora Bay happens to be smack dab right between the two. Just an awesome location. But that yellow building there, that's the bar and restaurant, and Meli and I were getting hungry, so we decided to stop in and grab some lunch. And as you can see, like I was saying earlier, it definitely feels a lot more actually Bahamian in here. Not so much super high-end, made to please the American tourist. And so Meli and I really like that more Bahamian feel. And so we actually ended up eating here, I think maybe 3 times on this trip. But I got a burger, absolutely fantastic burger. It had the fried egg on top. It was perfectly cooked, high quality meat. Just overall really good food. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, this island does have an insane culinary scene, so it's definitely worth experiencing all the different islands here. But that's enough for Romora Bay. Getting in the golf cart and heading off to the next location, which is going to be Valentines. As I just mentioned, our next stop and our final marina is Valentines, and Valentines is easily the most famous marina on Harbour Island. They do a really good job of creating entire atmosphere around their property. They can fit really big boats, they have a ton of dockage, and they've made this kind of little like Bahamian village up on land. And the bottom left, that building right there, that's the bar and restaurant, and that little clump of buildings around it, they have a gift shop, a fancier restaurant. They've kind of made this little village, and it gives the whole place a really, really cool feel. And going across the street, you can see the pool, and then that yellow, pink, green, and blue building. Those are rooms that you can rent. Overall, Valentine's just does an extremely good job with their resort properties. And this is the dock here. You can see it's a beautiful dock. It's extremely large. You can fit very big boats here, as you saw earlier with that drone shot. In the middle of the U, you can fit easily 200+ foot boats, no problem at all. And for a lot of people coming through Harbour Island, this is absolutely the marina of choice if there is availability here, which sometimes can be hard because it does tend to fill up very quickly here. I had to stop and take a look at Strokin, this beautiful 60-foot weaver. And for those of y'all who don't know, I actually work in the yacht sales industry. I'm a yacht broker with HMY Yacht Sales, and the sport fishing world, and in particular the custom boat world, it's an area of expertise for me. It's one of my areas of passion, and I really enjoy working in that area. And so a quick shameless plug, if any of y'all watching this video are looking for a boat, need help selling a boat, or just need a resource in the boating world, please feel free to reach out. I always put my contact information down below in the description. But enough of that. That little hut you see over there, that's actually the weigh station and the fish cleaning station for if you go fishing out here. The fishing is really good. You have access to the tuna fishery up a hole in the wall, and so that area gets used quite a bit. But that's about it for Valentine's. Continuing north on our tour of the island, I'm heading up north to show you guys the estates on the north side of the island. And when driving through Harbour Island, you can either go, through the middle of the island, through the actual town itself, or you can hug the west side of the island like this and drive along the water. And I highly, highly recommend doing that. It's a much more beautiful view. You get to see all the docks, the boats, the beautiful bay. The architecture and the houses right along the water are extremely awesome, cool to look at, unique. They have that very Bahamian flair to them. You drive through a lot of the restaurants and all that sort of stuff. And then once you get down to this part of the island that I'm at right now, this is definitely more of the local Bahamian part of it, which is still very, very nice compared to most, but it's definitely not your, million plus $3, $4, $5 million properties you get down on the other side of the island. But you have to get through this to get to this area, which we're heading to now, which is I don't know the actual term for it, but it's the road where all the estates are on. You turn down this road and it's paved for a little bit, but that pavement quickly ends and it turns into a very bumpy dirt road. And along this dirt road, there are some of the most grand and sprawling and expensive estates you have ever seen in your life. It is simply outrageous. I have a personal favorite one down here. It's basically a giant estate that goes from the beach all the way to the bayside. They own both sides of the road. And it looks like a giant coconut plantation. There's thousands of coconut trees everywhere. And I'm gonna show it to you guys down in a little bit in this video here as I keep driving down this road. But I've always thought that the people who own down here would do something to make this road a little more passable for regular cars and not just side-by-sides and ATVs and lifted golf carts. But when I actually think about it, I don't know this for a fact, but I think they actually probably like it like this because I think it keeps a lot of the riffraff and hustle and bustle away from this area, because it's really not a fun ride unless you just want to sightsee. It's very bumpy. You have to go really slow, hence why I'm speeding up the footage significantly here. But that estate y'all just saw, that's that coconut tree plantation estate I mentioned. And you can see here on the left side as well, just the insane amount of coconut trees. To me, that looks extremely tropical. I really, really like it. And if you're ever on Harbour Island, I definitely recommend taking some time out to really drive around the island, and especially come down this road on the north end of the island, because you will see some of the most beautiful houses and estates you will ever see in your life. It is well worth your time. And just like the rest of the Bahamian islands, Harbour Island definitely has its dogs just running around everywhere. And this girl came right up to the golf cart. She was super nice, loved getting pet, absolutely the sweetest little dog. And judging by how well fed she was, I really don't think that she was a stray whatsoever. I think she was someone's dog just out on a stroll. But Meli is an absolute dog lover, so she appreciated it and she wanted to take it home, but I had to remind her it's probably someone's dog. It's not a stray, but really, really cute pup. The next stop on our island tour is going to be the Pink Sands Resort. On the island, there are 3 main beach resorts. You have Pink Sands, Coral Sands, and the Dunmore. In my opinion, Pink Sands and the Dunmore are the 2 that get the most attention. All 3 of them are extremely nice, but for whatever reason, Coral Sands, I don't think gets the recognition that, you know, the other 2 get, deservedly so or not. But this is walking in that front building of the Pink Sands Resort, and we're gonna walk all the way back to the beach to show you guys the Blue Bar, which is the beach bar and restaurant they have here. But Mel and I parked at the front, and we're gonna walk through the entire property to give you guys a full view of how this place looks. Make sure you can get a feel for everything. And as you walk through, they have these walking paths, and as you'll see here in a second, golf cart paths just through extremely well vegetated landscape. The landscaping here makes you really feel like you're on a tropical island, which you are, so it makes sense. But it feels like everything was planted with purpose. It's nice and shaded. As you drive through, you feel like you're in a whole other world, like you're in a very exclusive place, which you are. You know, this place is not cheap. The room rates here are extremely expensive, but again, deservedly so. You're in one of the nicest resorts in the Caribbean, if not the world. And they have these little villas spread out throughout the property that you can rent, and they're not all on the water, so obviously the ones not on the water are going to be a little bit cheaper than the ones that are on the water. But no matter where you stay here, I'm going to go ahead and guarantee that you're going to absolutely love this day. And so this is the beach bar and grill here at Pink Sands. It's called the Blue Bar, and it's definitely one of the more famous bars and restaurants here on the island. You can see the views are absolutely amazing. The food is phenomenal. The drinks are cold. I highly recommend stopping in and grabbing at least a drink if you're ever on Harbour Island. And I can't believe I've made it this far in the video without mentioning the beaches here, but Harbour Island is famous for having its pink sand beach. Now, me personally, I don't think it's that much more pink than a lot of the other beaches in the Bahamas, but they were able to take the marketing and run away with it. But basically, you have a lot of these small pieces of red coral washed up on the beach that mix with the white sand and give it that pink hue that they market oh so well. You know, I'm sitting here at Treasure Cay doing this voiceover, and the beach here is almost just as pink, but still an insane experience. And if you haven't been to any other island in the Bahamas, it is 100% worth doing it. And as you can see here, they actually do have horseback riding. It's right between Pink Sands and Coral Sands. It's not that expensive. I want to say it's like $60 for an hour. I highly recommend doing that. That's coming in a further video, so stay tuned. But as you can see here, I almost lost the golf cart keys. I dropped them in the sand like 200 yards away and somehow was able to go track them down and find out exactly where they were. Thank the Lord, because that's my buddy's golf cart that he rented for us, and so it would not look great if I lost the keys on the first day. But one last look at the pool and the view they have there at Pink Sands. Our next stop is going to take us directly across the street to the Coral Sands Resort, and I mentioned it a couple minutes ago in this video that I personally don't feel like this resort gets quite the amount of attention as either Pink Sands or the Dunmore, and frankly, I think that's a little bit unwarranted. I think it's just as nice as Pink Sands, and For my personal taste, I actually kind of like the grounds of this resort a little bit better. I think it has a little bit more of a unique tropical feel, and it's a little bit more grown, has a little bit more vegetation, which I really, really like. But coming in the main entrance here, I'm sure you noticed that black and white checkerboard pattern on the floor. As you'll see in a second, that gets carried out back into the dining area. This is the bar here, the main bar that everyone hangs out at in the evenings and afternoons. That's the main outdoor dining area. I should have recorded that a little bit longer to give you guys a better look at the view, but it is what it is. But coming down the stairs now, if we were to take a left, that would take us to the pool area, and they have a gorgeous pool here with waterfalls and bridges, and it overlooks the ocean, and it's insane. I think a way better pool than either the Dunmore or Pink Sands. But coming down this little sidewalk is gonna take us back to the beach bar and grill they have here. I can't recall the name off the top of my head right now, but I kind of like this one a little bit better than the blue bar we were just at. I think this one's a little bit more simple Bahamian, which I keep mentioning it in this video. That's just my personal taste, and it's what I like. This one you could put in the Abacos and it would look perfectly at home, which is really why I like it. And of course, being on Harbour Island, the views that this bar has are absolutely unreal. So finally getting to the last of the big resorts here on Harbour Island, we're gonna head down the road a little bit and go over to the Dunmore. And I've mentioned it a couple times in this video, but the Dunmore has the reputation of kind of being the most high-end and the nicest resort on the island. And I personally agree with that thoroughly, and I know many people do as well. I've never actually stayed at the Dunmore, but I've eaten meals there many, many times, and my family has stayed at the Dunmore before and speaks extremely highly about it. This is the road driving into the Dunmore. We're on the Dunmore property right now. As you can see, it is absolutely flawless. All the architecture just screams luxury. It's nice and open with well manicured grass and tropical plants and palm trees and the whole 9 yards. They really, really do a good job at making this place feel extremely high-end and luxurious. And so parking the golf cart in the golf cart parking and walking back to where the main restaurant is and the little beach club thing that they have, you can see that the pathway there makes it really feel like you're walking through a tropical rainforest, which is something that I really, really like. I mean, if you look up, you can't even see the sky. All you see is leaves and trees. It's a whole experience, and it's part of the feeling, and this feeling is part of why the Dunmore has this reputation and why it commands such a high price tag to stay there, because you do get this experience. And so the actual architecture here, as you'll see here in a second, once I'm done panning through that oh so beautiful beach view, it's a little bit more almost like colonial Bahamian style. It's basic, in my opinion, if y'all are familiar with the Abacos and go to like the downtown Hopetown on Elbow Key or New Plymouth on Green Turtle or Man-O-War, it's built very much in that same style with all the white, the wood, the exposed rafters and the ceilings. Kind of has an English colonial influence, and it's something that I really, really love. And that's the bar right there. I love the dark wood. And I'm sure you can tell from this video, I have a very strong preference towards this style, and thus the Dunmore is hands down my favorite resort on Harbour Island. I think you get the most luxury. I think you get the best atmosphere, the best properties, the best restaurants and foods. And I've said it many times to my wife, because sadly we didn't get to eat there when we were there, but the single best meal I have ever had in the Bahamas was actually at that beach restaurant right there at the Dunmore for a dinner. It was unreal. But we're back at the house now. We're gonna enjoy a beautiful evening. Just look at that view. Woof. It is the end of the day and the weather is absolutely perfect. So walking down the long corridor from the house down to the dock to watch the sunset, and I don't know, I've had a couple rum drinks. The weather's perfect, the sun is out, and I am very, very tempted to jump in the water. So might have to and get Meli upset at me for doing it. Hola. Hola, baby. I love you. Woo.
If there's no shark, I'll do it.
I don't know if there's any sharks. I don't think there's any sharks. No?
For us to jump?
I don't think the shark's gonna come to us. Smile. Can I do it?
Huh?
It's gonna be cold.
I'm gonna do it with you.
I'm going, ready?
Come on, I'm gonna do it with you.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Are you rinked it?
No. Oh,
Yeah. So hold me up. Swim. Woohoo!
Can I touch him? That is alive.
That's fine.
I want to hold that in the water.
You're in the water. Jump.
Okay. No, let's go there.
Cute. What do you got? Oof. I could not resist my urges and had to jump in and convince Meli to jump in with me, and look what we found.
I can feel it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's alive.
What do you think of the starfish?
Love it.
Are you glad you jumped in?
Yes.
Oh, great first day in Harbour Island. And I think Meli enjoyed me forcing her to jump in and get out of her comfort zone. Would I be correct? Oof. Bahamas finds. What an absolute evening. Look at the sunset. Oof. Beautiful clear water. The wife is actually in the water holding a big old starfish. These are the evenings I live for, and there is no other place in the world where this kind of evening is possible than the beautiful Bahamas. You ready? Woohoo! How we doing? What do you think of starfish?
I love it. Look how cute she is. I don't want her to get out of the water because I know they can do that.
For a little bit of time.
No.
Aren't you happy you got in? Wait. Okay. Smile. What an absolute evening.
Look at this.
Ooh. I said it once on land on the dock. I'll say it again here. These are the days I live for. Hanging out in the water, the crystal clear water, with my beautiful wife in a beautiful sunset in a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yes, look at this.
Oof.
We need to put it back in the sand.
Yes.
Where did you find it?
I made a mention of this in a couple other videos, but days like this made me extremely grateful for the life that God has gave me and us. We get to do this stuff and hang out and have fun and do these trips, which not a whole lot of people get to experience. So we live a good life. Woo! But sun's going down more, so I think it's time for us to go up and get ready for some dinner. Correct. And so I don't know what we're doing for dinner. I think we're getting sushi in. You all are going to come along with us, so.
I can't believe the starfish yet. This is my first time holding one. I don't want to let it go.
How do we feel about the starfish?
Love her.
Yeah?
I don't know. It means she?
I don't know. Both.
We call her she. It's like you can feel, the bottom, like alive. It's alive.
You ready? On the water side. Alright, before we go, I'm going to put the starfish back in the little sandy pouch that we found it in. It's fine anywhere we put it, but just to be nice to the living organism, we're going to go put it exactly where we found it, right?
Yes. I don't want to kill a starfish.
Woo! Back where she came from. And just one last time before I get out, please look at how good of a view I have here. Just look at this. Woo. Life is good. You look like you wet yourself.
Huh?
You look like you wet yourself. What'd you think? What'd you think of that?
Thank you for making me jump today.
I think she thoroughly enjoyed it. Did you?
Yes, I didn't enjoy it at first, but once I was in the water, I loved it.
You see what happens when you step out of your comfort zone a little bit?
I know, but
You're going to experience amazing things. And so here is one little reminder from me too. Step outside of your comfort zone and go do something awesome. I know I've mentioned this about 100 times in this video, but before it gets dark and before the sun goes down, please just take one last moment to enjoy how insane the view from this house is and how beautiful of a day it was. And God has chosen to bless us even more with an outrageously beautiful sunset. The sun has finally set, and that marks the end of our first day here on Harbour Island. We had an absolute blast of a day, and we have a lot more coming for you guys. Meli and I recorded a full video every single day we were here, so stay tuned if you like this video because you're gonna love all the Harbour Island content, but the day's not quite over yet. As you can see, we took the golf carts over to Valentines, and we're gonna grab a quick dinner at the Valentines bar and grill they have right there on the water. All right, so we just finished up a dinner off camera because we're both tired, we're exhausted. It's really not that late, it's only 9 o'clock, but late for how tired we are. And so we've done a lot this video, gave you all a tour of Harbour Island. So that's gonna wrap up this video. Again, if you like anything boating and Bahamas related, whether it be the Abacos or Harbour Island, please subscribe. It, you know, lets me know you want to keep seeing more Bahamas content, and you know, gives me motivation to keep doing it and putting out more content for you guys, and maybe possibly travel to some more islands and do more of this stuff and show you guys as much of the Bahamas as we can. Exactly. And so like the video, comment down below what you want to see, what other stuff around Harbour Island. Subscribe, yes. Just, you know, let me know what y'all want to see. And yeah, I think tomorrow we're going to get into some actual fun activities, so we'll catch y'all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.